Chronicles of a Bus Driver. So this one afternoon, this little boy, he didn't get off at the stop because he was asleep. So this particular stop is where the majority of students get on and off the bus. So, I wasn't really on top of my game because I didn't notice that he did not get off the bus. His sister got off, and I just continued on my bus route. But the office called, say, hey, you have this little boy named Wanda on the bus. So I'm yelling out, Wanda, Wanda. Then I stopped the bus and I got up and I looked, and sure enough, he was there. He was knocked out. I said, hey, bud, you missed your stop. So I let the office know, and the mother met me somewhere further down the road. But check this out now. If you at the bus stop and your child or your children supposed to get off that bus, they don't get off the bus, what are you gonna do? You're gonna stop the bus driver and say, hey, what's going on with my son or with my children at? But not this parent, and my people, my people. But she didn't do anything. She just let the bus pull off, and she went back to the school to find out what's going on. When all she had to do was just stop the bus. But that happened to me when I was driving for this other school in Wake County about 3 years ago. So, I pull up to the stop and I see this lady standing there. I deploy my stop sign, put the bus in neutral, set the brake, which you're supposed to do that for every stop. But all bus drivers don't do that. Like that guy who drive bus 601, who knows what the hell he be doing. But, he ain't here for me because I ain't here for telling. I ain't no snitch. But anyway, so, I'm looking at her. She looked at me. I'm looking at her. She looked at me. She didn't speak, so I don't speak. I don't really speak to nobody. So I was like, man, that looked like so-and-so's mother. But she didn't say anything. So I just, I waited a few seconds. The kid didn't get up. So I closed the door and drove off. Then 5 minutes later, the kid said, hey, excuse me, bus driver, but you passed my stop. I said, no, you missed your stop. Because I stopped at your stop. And your mother was there waiting on you. So I said, hey, take my phone, call your mom, let her know we'll be back there in 5 minutes. But yeah, he I guess he was asleep. But she never waited for him again after that day. But, then again, there's my people, she was like, she didn't even say anything. You'd have thought, she'd have stopped the bus. Hey, is my son on the bus? But she never said anything. She just let me drive off. But now this other lady, she did stop the bus one afternoon. But I didn't drive that particular afternoon. I think I told him I was sick, even though I was in one of those gambling casinos gambling. But don't tell nobody, because that'd be our secret. But anyway, so she stopped the bus, but it was the wrong bus. She was making a scene, wanting to know where's her child, but the child didn't ride the bus. It was the wrong bus. They told me about it the next day. And now that's one of your people, who made a scene. In fact, that lady was something wrong with that lady. She just loved to scream. But anyway, you think, if you at that bus stop, your child doesn't get off that bus, you should hold the bus up and find out what's going on. Don't just let that bus driver drive off. But that's just me. But another day in life of a bus driver.